Where to begin? So, I thought I was going to get away with not doing this video. I was like, do you want to know what? What is there to say? And then actually, we have one person to thank. Bad Med Boy. Shout out to you, because you really humbled me. When I was sort of thinking about it, I was like, okay, maybe I do have thoughts to share outside of just deep disappointment. But I'm going to try and this isn't going to have a nice flow. All right, I've not got a beginning. I've not got an end. I've literally just got like some bullet points that I want to make sure that I sort of like cover. But aside from that, like, this is going to be all over the place. So stick with me. Guys, if you are new here, my name is Cassie and I'm a self-diagnosed luxury addict. I put videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. So if you like luxury fashion, then you're probably going to love it here. So head down there, subscribe, turn on the bell, become a member of our luxury addicted family. When are we going to rehab? Never. Okay, so yesterday to the day that I'm filming this, so on Thursday last week, it was announced that Demna Vasilia was going to be the new creative director of Gucci. And he is fashion's bad boy, shall we say. He has been known for a very specific aesthetic that he has brought to Balenciaga. Before Balenciaga, he co-founded Vetements with his brother, and the brother now runs Vetements. But really, we know the bulk of his career from Balenciaga, right? And with all of the creative director musical chairs, this is one name that nobody threw out. Nobody was questioning that he wasn't going to stay at Balenciaga. He's been there for so long, even with the scandal that I will briefly touch on. You know, he still stayed past that, all of that. Nobody was like, oh, he's looking for a job. He's been shunted out, as most of the case with all of these appointments. People are let go, or they've decided to leave, or whatever else, and then we've got a slot to fill. Up until this point, he's been happily at Balenciaga, and none of us questioned that. Nobody threw the name around. So when it was announced, wow, perplexed, bamboozled, spanner in the works. My brain was scrambled eggs because I did not know quite how to process this, and I thought it was a joke. I really did. And yet here we are. A couple of things that I want to sort of like put to the side while we discuss this, right? The first one being the scandal. About 2 years ago now, there was the whole sort of like holiday campaign scandal that happened with Balenciaga. I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty of it. You probably know what it was. If not, give it a quick Google. But basically, that has since left a lot of people with a bad taste in their mouth. Myself included, right? I haven't been particularly keeping on tabs with Balenciaga ever since then, right? And people are going to have varying, you know, like views on this, and they apologised, and for some people that's enough, and for some people that's not enough, and whatever else, right? And the thing with these sorts of situations is that we really don't know, nor will ever know, exactly who was to blame. But because you have the creative director, we just sort of assume that he's had sight of everything, because that's what a creative director does, and maybe the art direction, and decided that this was the focus that they're going to go after or whatever. So obviously that's who we blame. I'm going to try and put that to the side of this. I'm going to try and be very objective. I'm going to try and do something that is very hard for me, which is put my emotions aside. And I'm going to try and come at this from like okay, if we're going to look at business-wise and design-wise, if this is a good idea, like that's the sort of viewpoint I'm trying to come at this from, because so filled with emotion. And that, okay, I'm trying to be professional. Okay, so let's sort of bring this back a little bit. Whether or not Balenciaga is your vibe, is your taste level, is your aesthetic, neither of us can sit here and deny that around that 2017-ish time, Balenciaga was one of the biggest luxury brands in the world, okay? Whether due to controversial designs or not, People were talking about them, people were buying the pieces, right? And they were huge. It was at the same time that streetwear in luxury fashion specifically was also having such a big moment, right? This is also the same time that somebody like Alessandro Michele of Gucci was absolutely killing it, right? Regardless of your like, you know, Demna tanked Balenciaga and look what he's done to it and look at what the legacy was and look at what it is now, right? Whether or not you believe in that, he made them a lot of money, okay? So let's think of this from that perspective. In recent years, they haven't been doing so well, all right? It's knock-on effects of the scandal. It's also, in my opinion, people getting tired of seeing the same old thing. Balenciaga is owned by Kering, as is Gucci. There is also the question of, and I don't know, like I said, like, we're never going to know exactly the ins and outs and the numbers and everything, but maybe it was more cost effective to move somebody from one brand to another than it would be to get somebody like Eddie Slimane to come into Gucci, or even Maria Grazia Chiuri to come into Gucci, who I've heard interviewed for the role. I've heard Maria Grazia interviewed, and I think J.W. Anderson also interviewed. That would have been great. Anyway, he's going to do Europe, it's fine. So there's also like a cost angle that we never really know. But Gucci has been struggling, and this has not been a secret. Obviously, they got rid of Alessandro Michele, and in came Sabato. There were like 2 seasons done by the Gucci design team, and already you're getting an aesthetic shift, okay? So Alessandro to Gucci design team, shift. Gucci design team to Sabato, shift. We're just getting used to Sabato. Poor Sabato's been sodding kicked to the curb. Shift to Gucci design team, shift to Demna. Every single time you have this aesthetic shift, you are losing client loyalty because they don't know what they're getting. And that's what I sort of thought with the whole Sabato thing. I was like, okay, I was finally understanding what Gucci was through his eyes. Every single time you're changing that, there is no consistency. And my biggest point here is Gucci's too big a brand to be playing these games, in my opinion. You obviously now have Demna stepping in, and people are like, oh, but we've sort of seen what he can bring to Gucci when there was the Gucci Balenciaga collaboration. I don't think that's true. First of all, that was a collaboration, and if we're being extremely honest with each other, the Gucci side was the side that sold out. The Balenciaga line did not sell out. Okay, I was seeing those, I was back in London, I was seeing those in the sodding windows of Balenciaga on Sloane Street for many, 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 many weeks after that collaboration had dropped, whereas it didn't even sodding make it to the shop floor in the Gucci store. So what does that say? But anyway, I don't think that that is a fair inkling or idea of what we're going to get from Demna there. I don't think I can even guess. People are, oh, it's going to be like worn in loafers or whatever, right? And, you know, that tracks. But also, he is a person, from what I gauge, and I'm not, obviously, not a big Demna fan, it's going to be stuff that you've not even sodding thought of. But I still think we're going to see it through a certain lens. I don't know. I'm still working through this mentally, hence this is not like one beautifully coherent video. Gucci, in my opinion, at the moment, is refusing to act like the brand it is. Gucci is a heritage luxury brand. Gucci is a brand that stands next to the likes of Louis Vuitton and Chanel and Hermes and Fendi, and these brands that are so entrenched with history and moments in culture and has all of these codes that are a part of the house, okay? Like the loafers, like the horsebit, like the Gucci web, like the GG monogram, all of that business, right? I think it's been very obvious that Demna is not somebody who follows the rules. So I don't know exactly what Gucci is going to look like under him, but my prediction is that it is going to be unrecognizable. And I don't think in a way that I'm going to like. I don't think he necessarily cares about house codes, or at least doing them in a way that we as customers want. if you look at like Balenciaga, yes, there's like an element of that sort of hourglass shape that was so much a part of the brand and its couture and going back to its, you know, inception and all of that. We rarely see that except for maybe like the odd piece in a couture show done by the brand, okay? And I know that we can't keep beating a dead horse and brands have to evolve and change and all of that, but I don't think Gucci is a brand that can take that risk. I think this is a ginormous risk. No, this is a huge risk that has the ability to tank the brand. Is the Gucci client who has been buying Gucci for years under like Alessandro Michele and then Sabato de Sarno, and then now are they the same people? Is Demna's fan base big enough to follow him from what he did at Balenciaga to do at Gucci? I don't know. I think that Demna is too big of a risk and Gucci should have played it safe. And in my opinion, playing it safe would have been hiring somebody like Maria Grazia. I think that whether or not we're sort of like, you know, people are like sick and tired of Dior and all of that, Dior is commercial. Dior, you know, pretty much up until like 6 months ago, it sells. You know what you're getting. She sticks true to house codes. And I think at a time when Gucci is in flux, you need some stability. And I feel like she could have really been the stability. Here's the thing. I'm just a client. Okay, I'm just a client, not even that big of a client, okay? I buy the odd thing here and there. This would just be my opinion. That's the decision I would have made. He has built a name for himself off of sort of trolling and rage baiting. Okay, what's rage baiting? Doing stuff that pisses people off, like, for attention. So this is the rubbish bag made out of leather. This is a bag that looks like a packet of crisps. It's a pair of trainers that are like 10XL. It's a roll of tape worn as a bracelet. You're gonna do that to Gucci? To Gucci, why? What does Gucci do? It's equestrian. It's equestrian, it's luggage, it's the Savoy Hotel, right? It's a level, it's Jackie Kennedy, right? It's all of that. And this is not to say it can't be interpreted through a different, I just don't want it interpreted through his lens. Which is the long and short of it, really. If I think back to sort of Demna's career and all of that, right? For me, my introduction to him sort of started with the DHL t-shirt. That then, I don't think I like quite got it. And now looking back on it, I'm like, that was actually like a really significant piece or whatever. And I actually think that that's cool, right? It's when you do that over and over and over again that I'm sick and tired of this. And are you just a one-trick pony? Because you've done it at one brand, you took that to another brand. Are you just going to take that to Gucci? A brand that you can't mess with in this way. It's like, I don't have faith in whatever Gucci is going to become. Like I said, this is a big brand with a lot to lose. You wouldn't be surprised if he was doing this or bringing this aesthetic to a brand that's sort of set up for that. And I would say for something like this, something like Acne Studios, you can see him doing this at somewhere like Acne Studio and it works, right? Because Acne is sort of like, also pushes the boundaries a bit in a way that I don't mind. But you can see it there at Gucci. R.I.P. You know, I'm just waiting for those wedges. They're gonna have to shift them. The wedges that I like that I tried on, they're gonna have to shift them. I'll get that inevitably when he's clearing out for the mark he's going to make on the brand. And maybe I'll get a deal on them. Who knows? That's the shining light here. The other shining light is Balenciaga. Obviously now does not have a creative director. Ooh, who is it going to be? There's a lot of names sodding floating about. You know, it's like, was there no, that literally anyone else. Cassie, you said that you were going to be objective and you weren't going to like bring your own sort of like thoughts and feelings into it. And this whole thing has been littered with your own thoughts and feelings. So that's how that's gone. Yeah, but Balenciaga does not have a creative director. I did see Lauren Sherman of Puck News has been like, oh, Riccardo Tisci cleared his Instagram the other day. I'd be into that. I would be into that. So what are your thoughts? As you can see, I'm wearing my funeral garb. Oh, yeah, I mean, I wasn't a big Demna fan before everything. Then everything, like, kicked off 2 years ago, and I was like, well, no loss to me. And, you know, the Balenciaga vibe has never been my vibe. And now you want to bring your vibe to a brand that I'm rooting for? You know, it's been rough. It really has been. The markets are also, I think, like, Kering stock dipped like 11% or something after the news, and it's like, it's not just me. Let's see what happens. I believe he officially starts at Gucci in July. He's probably going to show his first show in September, so it's going to be spring-summer 2026. I don't like having Debbie Downer videos. You know this. Right, so I don't know what that was, okay? I'm just trying to... just sort of smiling through tears. Anyway, let me know what you think. I'm going to leave a link to another video over here. It's probably a much more positive one. In case you haven't already seen it, have an amazing morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. In the words of my father.
If you've enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you haven't, keep your mouth shut.
I will see you in my next video. Mwah. Bye, guys.